Good evening, you wonderful people, and thank you for joining us to another episode of Matt and Lindsey. I'm Matt, and that's Lindsey.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're discussing two movies. We're discussing a movie that I brought, Moon, and a movie that Lindsey brought, V for Vendetta. But I happen to like both of them, so
I know. Okay.
Yeah, but that's great. Before we get started, can you please be an absolute boss and press that like button, press that subscribe button, stay on what's going on with Foulball Productions. Check out every episode of me and Lindsey's show, as well as me and Jared's show and all the other content I put up. It's all really great, good, amazing stuff. I like it. I think it's quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, hello, dear. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. I watched both movies last night, back to back.
Back to back.
Back to back.
How was that? Which one did you watch first?
V for Vendetta. I hadn't seen that one since it came out. I hadn't seen it since I was like in college.
No way.
Yeah,
that's
it's
crazy.
Wild. I know.
I watch, like at least twice a year.
You watch it twice a year?
Yeah. That's kind of like I basically have like my DVDs they're movies that I love, and they all get watched at least once a year to twice a year.
Wow, that's really cute. That's really adorable.
That's just, I need to get more movies though, and I'm gonna add Moon. Actually, let's start with that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start with Moon. Go on.
Yeah. Hilarious though. Actually, the first 2 minutes, I realized I had watched it before with you.
Are you using the microphone?
Yeah, it's right here. It's too far away.
Yeah, pull it a little closer to you. I think it's a little. The audio was better last time. How's that? We get a little testy.
Hello.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay,
I think so.
I'll put a little closer.
Yeah. Okay, that's better. All right, cool. Yeah. So, come on? Tell me what you thought.
Well, I watched it with you before, like a long time ago.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh, I remember this. I didn't remember what happened though, so I just kept watching it, obviously. But I was like, oh yeah, no, like I remember this, but yeah, it's really good. He's a really good actor. It definitely was a slow start, and I was like, maybe that's where I didn't remember it from before. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember watching it with you either, but I mean, like I've watched.
Maybe not with you, I guess, but I did watch it.
Oh, it's possible we did. I'm not saying we didn't. I'm just, I when I first saw it, like I fell in love. I saw it with my mom, and I remember hearing about it. There was like this buzz, it was like, oh my God, Moon, and it was like, I was like, what is this Moon? And it was just, I think it was on Netflix. It was just streaming on Netflix, and I watched it. And I was just like fucking in love with it. I have been ever since. I mean, even when I turned it on last night, I was just like, oh my God, this movie is so good.
Yeah.
Like the music that goes throughout it, like it just creates such a mood, and it's got this great, like, I don't know, it uses like the time, you know what I mean? It really builds and builds, and you feel like you're going towards something. And when it like the end comes, like it just feels like it all just landed. Like it was all like one designed arc.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. The one thing that like I had a question about though, that I feel like it answered at the end, but I still wasn't sure, was like, did the original guy, Sam, go back to Earth and then they just kept his clones up there? Or, but I think not, because it was such a big deal when the clone came down. But I guess I don't know.
They never expressly say. It's like, I think what's implied is that Sam Bell, the original Sam Bell, was like an astronaut or like something like that, and he signed a contract with Lunar Industries to have his body cloned and then man the lunar station all by himself. I don't think the original Sam Bell has ever been to the moon.
Oh, okay. But that was the thing. I was like, did they kill him too? I guess was my question.
No, I don't think so, because I think when one Sam goes out to the lunar module to make that kind of phone call outside of the jamming frequencies.
Yeah.
I think the voice you hear in the background is Sam Rockwell, so Sam Bell.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
I think that's what's implied.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's not explicitly said, but I think that's what's there.
Yeah, okay, that answers my like biggest question then, because I was like, wait, what? Like, did they kill this like man and like steal his body? Like, because that was the impression I got at first, you know, like that they were doing this.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely super immoral because the clones themselves are obviously under zero, that they have no idea that this is happening. So like when it's, you know, all going down, like they just think that they're all people. So it's like and then when you saw like the montage of like all the bodies just being like vaporized.
Yeah, and also like why did they all? I mean, I guess it's like because they're clones, but why did they all degenerate in 3 years?
I guess the idea is that they have a shelf life, and that
How
there's
do you
just
think that happened? Like, I know it's so random. That's not like a real thing that we have already, like clones, right? Or what we do. Okay.
we don't.
Nice.
No, I mean, I don't know. I think I just like one thing that the movie like just implies is just that, you know, there's there we go. Sorry. That there's just it's just that these things, because it's like they're not clones in the sense of like, you know, I guess a clone now is basically you just clone an embryo, right? And you can grow it like any other organism, right? If it's a clone sheep or a clone person, you know, it still would need to gestate. It would still need all the time. So I guess these clones are manufactured, right? Like their bodies, they don't have 9 months to gestate and then another 30 years to mature. Like they're created whole cloth, like they're created as a whole human, right? Because remember when they
Right.
show the freezers, there's all the Sambels.
Mm-hmm.
So they must just, whatever process they go through that makes them, I assume it has just a shelf life. It just has a like that body just can't last longer than that. You know,
Gotcha.
like I think with any science fiction, it's kind of taking like certain leaps. You know, it's not necessarily, you know, it's like if every single fact was scientifically provable, like it could only take place now. You know what I mean? Like it's some things you have to be like, okay, in the future they figured out how to build clones.
Right.
You know? Yeah. Do you know that the director of that movie is David Bowie's son?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Duncan Jones. He's David Bowie's son. Yeah. And he did a follow-up movie called Source Code with Jake Gyllenhaal, which was like, it was okay. But in the sequence, there's a TV screen in like one of the moments, and they're having all the different Sambels are like in court, like trying to get like rights for themselves and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, like a little callback to the last movie.
Yeah.
That was cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was sad though. I was like so sad for them.
Yeah.
Like even just before you find out they're clones, just the fact that they've been alone for 3 years, like
I know.
I would go insane.
Don't we all have a better insight on like how intense like house arrest and what's it called? Like solitary is?
True.
Right?
True.
Like
They're
you always
really
think like,
similar.
oh, yeah, you think like that would suck. I guess I'd just do push-ups and read or something, but like I'm going crazy not being able to leave my apartment. You know, I couldn't imagine not leaving a cell or being on the moon by myself for 3 years.
Yeah, you don't have like fresh air and like
No.
anything normal and Earth.
No. And then not only that, like everyone that you were planning on going home to, they don't even know you exist. You're not even a real person.
Yeah.
Like you don't exist. You're an organic program.
Ooh.
I know.
The
It's
computer
brutal.
even says that, and he's like, "No, like we're human."
How good was Sam Rockwell in that? Like doing both parts, like, and they feel so distinctly different.
Yeah, that was something I was thinking about because you like think about the idea, like even in the time travel movie that we just watched, just the fact that there's like another one of you and has like all the same memories up to like a certain point, you know?
Wait, sorry, say that. Say it one more time.
Which part?
What you just said about the memories.
Oh, that they all have the same memories up to a certain point. So they're like the same person up to a certain point, but then they are very distinct in the movie. So I don't know. I was just thinking about that. Like if you met yourself like like in the time travel movie or in this movie, like you met your other self, but they've been through a few different things than you, but your core like life was the same. So you're like different people, but the same.
Yeah. And like one of the videos I was watching was talking about how like the difference like between the two characters is how like one's had 3 years to live out on this thing and the other one's fresh. And so he's just like got the like I guess whatever implant is ready to go. So it's like that's where the difference comes too. Like he's had 3 more years as being an individual clone. Yeah, there was a movie, I don't know that I ever saw it, but it was I remember seeing like the trailer or something like that. And it was about this school for like, you know, teenagers or whatever, but they couldn't leave or something. And then like when they find out at the end that they're actually clones, and the reason they had them there was because they weren't sure if they were human, like if they had souls or whatever. So I kind of think that's an interesting idea to explore. Like, is that a person? Does that thing have a soul? Like,
and also like the idea that the company owns those clones. They own him.
Right.
Essentially.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have free will.
No.
So as a human.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's one of those things where it's like, I think if you think about it a little much, it's kind of like, well, that probably wouldn't ever happen. I mean, like, what an elaborate
not treat clones as humans.
I mean, just the amount of deception you'd have to go through to carry out something like that. But then again, you know what? People do some pretty dark stuff. Eric, my friend Eric's watching, and he says he did a sort of sequel called Mute that took place in the same universe as well, but I wouldn't really recommend it. It's really bad. Okay. I don't know what that is, Eric. I never heard about that. Mute? Oh, yeah, that was bad. Yeah. That's what Skarsgård and Paul Rudd. Right.
Which Skarsgård?
Alexander.
Oh, I love him though.
I do too. I love Generation Kill so much. That's right. I think I didn't even finish watching that movie, which makes me feel bad because he's such a good. I mean, I love Moon so much that it's like, you know, it's depressing. Like the Source Code was okay. Then he went and did the World of Warcraft movie. Did you?
No.
Do you remember it existing?
No, not really.
It's kind of a flop. It didn't really work. I mean, for such a huge, ingrained, already built-in fan base, it didn't really do much, which sucks because actually the original Warcraft games have really good stories. Like Warcraft 3 has got a great story. Like you're this young prince or something like that, this human prince, and you like go north and you're really noble and righteous, and then at some point you end up like, I forgot exactly, it's been so long since I've played it, but he ends up like trying to kill this monster or something like that, or this evil thing, but then he ends up becoming like the evil thing, and then he becomes the villain of the game, and like he gets consumed with all these like ice powers and he's like a demon. It's like it's actually a really good story.
Demon.
Yeah, he's like an ice demon, and it's like I forgot what he's called, the Lich King or some shit like that. But I guess they never used that story. They just tried to make up some Hollywood story, and I don't know why they do that. Like if you're banking on a built-in fan base, why not just tell the stories that the fans already like?
Maybe because they think the fans want like a new story in the same universe.
That's not a bad theory.
I don't know, Linz. I
Or
don't.
they didn't think the other one was gonna work in like movie time. I don't know.
Movie time.
Movie time.
It's
movie time, guys.
Let me see. Is there anything else about that?
About Moon?
Yeah, the lunar, like those little things, not modules, but the lunar like truck things on the surface. They were miniatures. They're scale models. Yeah. That movie was made for $5 million. $5
million.
That's nothing. That's nothing. That's like a week on like a medium budget movie.
That's funny.
It's crazy, like how far he was able to stretch that and how good that movie looks.
Yeah.
You know, all the props and the sets and the costumes and the special effects, and it doesn't feel like they had to cut anything out. It feels like they made the most of that $5,000. I mean, $5 million.
5,000, that'd be great.
That guy's really good.
Yeah, they did a really good job, and he's just very like emotional. He gets you.
He's great. I met him at an event at like a Golden Globes after party where I was like bartending, and so nice. Just such a genuine. You could just tell, not like just polite, like I'm supposed to be. Like you could tell he's a real person. He's like a down to earth, like kind, cool human being.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Sam Rockwell a lot. Eric has also, he said some other things. Let's see. Skarsgård is the best part of Mute, but the rest of the film tries to be too much like Blade Runner and goes into dark directions for no real reason. Yeah, that sounds pretty boring. That sounds pretty lame. Yeah, I remember that. It was something to do with Paul Rudd was his friend. Yeah, I don't care to even remember it. I don't remember it being enjoyable. And then he says, as for Duncan Jones, his next movie is an adaptation of a comic book called Rogue Trooper.
Rogue Trooper.
I haven't heard of that. Have you heard of that?
I have not, but I would watch it.
Take a look, see what Rogue Trooper is all about.
The only like graphic novel or like comic or whatever that I ever read was The Walking Dead.
How did you like it?
I liked it a lot as a comic, and then they started the show, and I really didn't like the show. So but a lot of people love it. I don't know.
Rogue Trooper looks pretty cool. All these, let's share the screen. Ta. Boom. Yeah, this looks pretty interesting. I don't know, like just look like blue army men with guns on a space planet, but that's right up my alley. I have nothing wrong with nothing against that. Oh, it is Duncan. Oh, well, that's okay. I will keep an eye out for this. I want him to come back because of how goddamn good Moon was. This kind of reminds me of the art style of Dredd. Judge Dredd. Dredd
is what?
Judge Dredd is a comic book.
Oh, sorry.
And then, yeah, 2000 AD. I think this is, maybe it's this. Yeah, there we go. There's Judge Dredd right there. I wonder if it is by the same people. It looks like it. I don't know enough about comic books to say, but it looks like did you ever see the movie Dredd?
I don't think so.
Oh.
What's the general idea?
It's so fucking good. So it's about, it stars Carl Urban is Judge Dredd, and it's in the future after like these very serious apocalyptic wars. And there's these major cities. All the cities are super cities. And they're in Super City, I don't know, 1 or whatever. But they're like, it's like the whole, it's like from like Boston to like Baltimore. You know, it's like the whole Eastern Seaboard is just one giant city, but it's a mess. It's just crime everywhere. They can barely respond to any of the calls, but they're also like these super cops who can respond, you know, who can use lethal force in the line of duty if they decide it's necessary, because they're judges. They're not just cops. Like they can make a assessment. So there's this mega block with this like mega crime boss who's played by Cersei Lannister. What's her name? Lena Headey.
Yeah.
And she's a real bad bitch. And then basically, so the two judges get called to a call in there, and then they get locked into this big super building, and they have to like fight their way out for like the whole night. And it kicks ass. It's so good. It's one of the best comic adaptation movies ever. It's awesome. Recommended, my dear. Recommended.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, check it out, madam. Maybe you'll enjoy yourself. Find yourself a new yearly movie.
Check it out. Is it on Netflix though?
I don't know. No. You're gonna have to figure out how to find your movies sometimes. I don't know.
I don't know. I just
gotta get creative.
Haven't been on that for a long time.
I know. But I don't know about you, but I kind of hate streaming services. Like I feel like there's nothing on them anymore.
It's true. You flip through and you're like, no. Seen everything that's good. So,
yep. Like kind of over it. Like don't want to see that. Already seen that. Don't want to, just like ugh. I got HBO Max recently. That was pretty cool.
Oh, why is it next?
That's just what they call it. I don't know.
Okay.
It's just a new streaming. It has like South Park. It has like it has like a lot of stuff. It has all the Adult Swim stuff. It has excuse me. All the Turner Classic Movie stuff. It's like a bunch of different networks combined. I was really into it actually. Because I've been watching Raised by Wolves. Have you heard about that show?
It's science fiction.
It's good. I mean, it's pretty good. I've only watched 2 episodes, but I like it so far. Has that guy from Vikings. I want to say Travis Fimmel.
Doesn't sound familiar.
I forgot his name. Anyway, he's the guy from Vikings. Didn't matter. You didn't see that. You watched Doom. You watched Moon. Anything else about Moon?
It was just interesting. I don't know. The little computer, I loved how it was like Kevin Spacey, his calming voice.
Yeah, it's a little weird now with Kevin Spacey. You're like, oh, that's the rapist guy. Yeah.
I actually did not follow that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's a whole thing. So it's
just everyone is nowadays, though. So it's like,
well, I mean, he wasn't the worst one. There's worse rapists.
He wasn't the worst one. Oh, it's the worst when they. Never mind. I'm not talking about that.
No, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just so hard. It's like now you're like, oh well. But I liked with the character of Gertie that they played on the trope of like the evil robot, the evil AI. It
wasn't really.
Right, that's what I mean. They played on it. Like they let you think that he was like bad. They kind of led you to think he was bad, and then they were like, "Nope, he's actually helpful." And I thought that was cool. It was sweet. Gertie had a heart.
Yeah, he definitely still like went with like his programming and what he was supposed to do.
But he went against the company, which was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I thought that was a great choice. I like that a lot.
It was just interesting that he still knew. He was like, "Oh, like let's reboot me, and then I'll be with the new clone, and we'll go back to our normal thing." So he kind of still knew, like, well, this is going to keep going, but you guys can go, like, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not going to, like, to the next guy be like, oh, by the way, you're a clone, get out of here. Like, he's not going to do that as a robot.
But also, he wouldn't have the choice because Sam Bell 2 reset him.
Well, yeah.
Right? So he doesn't even know. He doesn't even have the choice.
Yeah.
He can't do it, Lindsay. That's the point.
Well, he could, because he still knows that he's a clone.
Right, that's true. But the clone doesn't have self-awareness now, so I guess he doesn't have any kind of contradiction in his programming. You'd think though that the company would have kind of come up with a contingency if the robot figured it out.
Right.
Like they kind of be
like intelligence and not just intelligence, the self-will.
Yeah.
To do something like that.
Yeah, they wouldn't just like leave it up to chance. Like, hope he doesn't tell them that they're clones.
Yeah.
Because that would ruin our whole thing. This whole illegal operation we got going on. Got to kind of keep this one under our hats. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah, I kind of like that they just like hinted at it at the end with the little like you're hearing the news cast or whatever.
Yeah, I like that. I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah, he's like going against them in court, right, to try and.
Yeah, I mean it's well, yeah, it's so immoral. I mean, you're just gonna have like for how long these people who think they're people, they're not, just living a 3-year life, and then that's it. That's their whole existence, just so that we can have cheap energy.
Also, is that like an incinerator at the end? Like it just incinerates them?
I guess so. Something like that.
Well, because I kind of thought it because it kind of looked like it was getting vacuumed out. And then when he like finds that stuff, like out the thing coming out of it, he finds that stuff off of it. It looked like ash, but that may have been like me doing it.
Wait, when? What?
Super weird. Because when he's trying to like he goes to the place where they like send him home, he climbs into
right, yeah, the little coffin thing.
Yeah, and in the video, like it looked like they incinerated him, and then that thing that Gertie attached to it.
Oh,
like,
the hose. Oh, yeah.
Like vacuumed him out. So
You're probably right.
Yeah, and then he was like looking like all around it, and he looked underneath, and there was the thing that Gertie attached the hose to.
Oh,
and
wow.
like dripping off of it down here was like what looked like ash. I couldn't tell very well.
I didn't even really put that together. That's very clever.
It was like something. It might have been liquid. I don't know, or maybe they like gelatinized him.
Gelatinized?
That works.
That's weird. That's interesting. I didn't even think of that. That's really, actually, on all my watch-throughs, I never thought about what that little nozzle was. I never.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that was my first thought, because they put him in there, and then you see kind of like a dissolving looking in the movie, and then it all disappears, and it's a clean thing again.
Yeah,
so I mean, what did he turn into? Did he turn into ash or liquid?
Wouldn't it be funny if they just launched him into space? It's just
but it looks like he like dissolved first. That was the thing.
I'm sure it's probably that. I'm sure.
Why didn't they just launch him into space though? Wouldn't he just like degenerate over that? Or no, he wouldn't. Would he? Because of
it's pretty macabre. I mean,
macabre. They do that all the time in the other one that we watched that I just forgot the name of, The Expanse.
Yeah, what about?
Into space.
Yeah, but it's done as like, isn't this how fucked up that's happening? It's not done. It's not done as like
cloning him and then killing him at the end of 3 years. Like that's fucked up too.
Yeah, but like, okay, think about it.
Shoot them off into space. They're like, that's taken care of.
I know, but if you're Lunar Industries, right, and you're like, okay, we have all these clones. What do we do with the old ones? And some guy's like, I don't know. How about a big slingshot? We just send them into space. You're like, I don't know. I think we need a tidier option than that. I think maybe if we liquefy the bodies.
Ashing? Oh, I guess. How is liquefying cleaner? Better? Anythinger?
It's got to be tidier. It's got to be easier to do than just like a big, Acme slingshot. Like, and he just flies off towards Venus.
What? Oh my gosh, I don't even know.
I think the solution they went with was probably the best, probably the tidiest.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. I know how it's also, it's like one of those like super high tech, but also looks like it's from the 80s type things. Like they're in this spaceship, but like even the little like emoji that's.
Oh yeah. I love that they use emojis because it's like as ever present as emojis are, excuse me, there was a time when they were new, and I remember they felt like a fad.
Yeah.
You'd think back like, oh, remember when we used to use emojis? Remember that? But they actually are so functional, like at conveying emotion.
That's why it works so well, because when he only has like
3 expressions, something like that.
Yeah, like when he's doing the faces and he's speaking, and Kevin Spacey is doing a really great job like emoting through it all, and you really know what that face is like saying, because
right?
Of how much we like communicate with emojis. We're like, I know that. I know what he's saying there. Like,
yeah, but I mean, they work on a human level. Emojis just work. It's so weird. Like, you wouldn't think something so simple would be so effective, but they really are. They really work.
It was funny. I actually watched like kind of like a whole video, I think, on like emojis and how it's been like integrated into our language, essentially.
Really?
Our written, obviously. Sorry, not speech. That doesn't make sense.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, language.
Our way of expression, our mode of expression.
Yeah. And they were kind of like, I think, pondering over the idea if it was like we're actually going back to the times when we had like hieroglyphs, like pictures instead of words.
I guess in a way, sure.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
I don't remember the whole thing, but.
I mean, I can't imagine we're not de-evolving, if that's, I hope that wasn't the supposition. I hope that they weren't like, well, now we just use faces. We're actually going back. It's like, really? I can talk to someone in China in real time. I think we're evolving. I think we're moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. I guess that'll wrap it up for Moon. I mean, I love that movie. I every time I watch it, it's so good. It's so compelling.
I
And
love it with the little plants because, like, that's me sometimes. I think that's all of us sometimes, like talking to like plants and
that's a
animals.
that's a bit of a reference
To what?
to this movie called Silent Running from the 70s. It has Bruce Dern in it, and it's about this guy. It's kind of a weird movie, but I forgot exactly, but it's some spaceship going through space, and it's like a giant, like, let's do some
imaging help.
and it's like a giant, like, greenhouse in space. And the guy is like more in love with his plants than like he is with the with like people, and then he kind of goes on like a murderous rampage and kills everyone aboard.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. But yeah, it's like he's got like his little robot friends that like he has in like the in his little terrarium in space. See, he's in space.
It's really cute, but really terrifying.
Did you ever see Mystery Science Theater 3000?
No.
That's the show with like where they're watching bad movies and the little cutouts of the robots are like making fun of it in the front.
I don't think so.
You've never. It's really good. But this was inspired. This inspired that movie because these guys little robot friends, and in their weird version, instead of like harvesting plants, they make fun of bad movies. Yeah. Silent Running has inspired a lot of science fiction. Mystery Science Theater, Moon, boom. I remember thinking the movie was really weird though. I was like, he's not exactly a good guy. I mean, he just murdered everybody, but he like wins at the end. You're like, oof, what is the message of this film? I'm a little confused.
I think it's just more of a story because stories can be told from different perspectives, and sometimes it's told from the perspective of the bad guy. But when he wins, he's happy. So
that's deep.
We're seeing it from his. It's very deep.
Yeah. You know what I noticed about Moon too, that I love about it is how swift it is. Like it gets going and it gets going. Like it doesn't. There's no fat on that movie. No wasted time. It like once it starts, you're just on a ride till it ends. It's a really, really well paced film.
It is.
You're not aware of the time. You're not aware of anything. You're just watching the movie. You're like absorbed in the film.
And there's like the questions get rolled out really nicely. You know what I mean? Like the things that you start going like, wait, what? And then one kind of like would get answered, and then you have another one. And
it's interesting too how there's a mystery that they somehow managed to like obscure from the audience that is resolved in like the first act. Like, it's like in the first third of the film, you're like, oh shit, he's a clone. But that was a reveal, which is interesting. That's an interesting way to like, usually like a big twist like that is like at the end, like, oh, he was a clone the whole time. Yeah. But this time, and then they deal with a whole other part of it.
Yeah.
And I love the subtleties with the Eliza ship that's coming to like help him,
Yeah.
And it's like they show like the faces of the astronauts who are coming to get him to come help him, and they don't look like nice guys. None of them look like they're friendly. And then when they get there, you kind of hear them, and they got that one point where he's got the rifle over the. It's like, oh shit, like that's cool, like really implying danger.
Right.
I love. And Eric says that he loves the soundtrack. And yes, I agree with that, Eric. I think the soundtrack, the score is incredible.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned that when we first started this discussion. So yeah, that's fucking Moon. Moon rules.
It does. I haven't had it to my collection for sure.
Nice. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So 1 for 3 isn't bad. No Wrath of Khan, no Primer, but Moon.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I mean, I hope that collection continues to expand because, we got a bunch more shows to do, Lindsay, and you gotta bring some films.
I know it's all in storage right now, so I gotta I don't even remember all of the videos that I actually have, but actually, you know, one that's like funny that I have is don't even remember the name. The vampire one, not Twilight. The one with that British girl. Oh, how am I forgetting? This is like one of my
That British girl. Hey guys, you should already know it's the one with that British girl.
It was in Serendipity with the guy from High Fidelity. Wow, I'm
John
on a roll of these names tonight.
John Cusack.
Yes, John Cusack. Kate something.
Kate.
Whatever.
Hepburn. I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Why am I not? It's like the vampire. And why is everyone?
Why don't you tell me about the movie instead of vague descriptions of the actors?
So I like forgetting everything.
This is a live show
Right now. I know. Hi everyone. Let's come on to talking about the movies that we were here to talk about because I haven't watched that movie in a while.
Kate Beckinsale. Eric says Kate Beckinsale.
Thank you. See, Eric has my back.
What's the movie though?
She's a vampire. And
Underworld.
Underworld. Thank you.
John Cusack's not in Underworld.
No, I said she's in Serendipity with John Cusack.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those movies have like a real distinct decline.
Yes.
Because like Underworld's really good, and then 2 is bad, and 3 is fucking awful.
Yeah.
Like unwatchable.
Series, I have all 4.
There's 4? Oh my god.
Yeah, because the new one. And I couldn't help it. I bought it before I watched it.
I find that interesting how people are just a fan of genre like that, and they don't care if the movies are objectively good. It's like, oh, it's got werewolves and vampires. I'm in.
That's not why.
No, but I mean, because the first Underworld really is an awesome movie. Like, I love it. It's so good, and it has such cool concepts, like the UV bullets and the silver nitrate bullets, like for the to evolve the fighting like into the 21st century. That's brilliant, and it's really cool. And like, I love how she's like makes that really dramatic decision to bring back the whatever that guy's name is, and it was totally the wrong thing to do. And like, it was such a bad decision. And it turns out not only that he was like such a monster, it's so good. It's such a good movie. Yeah. Love that movie. Yeah. But then like 2, I was just like, ooh. Doesn't one of them have Chad Kroeger in it from Creed?
I don't know.
I think it does.
I don't know who Chad Kroeger is, to be honest. I know what Creed is.
Does he just look like that? No, maybe not. I thought it was. Maybe he just looks like him. Or that's oh no, not Creed. That's Nickelback. Is what I'm thinking of. I thought like there was some rock star though in one of the Underworld sequels. Am I crazy? Is that like, am I nuts? I must be. Rise the light guns. The light guns.
I don't remember what is happening.
Are any of the other ones any good? Like, are any of the sequels good? I thought they all sucked.
No, I don't think they were great.
Right? I thought they were like bad.
But it's like, I don't know. Once I start the story, I have to finish the story.
I don't have that problem anymore. I used to have that problem, but I do not. Wait, so Blood Wars, did that come out recently? 2016? But didn't she come back to it? Yeah, she came back. Kate Beckinsale came back for Blood Wars.
She did.
And came out in 2016. It made some money. Not a lot, but the reception was 21% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's not good. And an average rating of 3.96 out of 10 on IMDb. Oh, that does not sound good. And that's the one she came back for. Oh man, she must have needed a paycheck. Jeez Louise. I think I watched Underworld Rise of the Lycans recently. That's the one with a really, really good actor, Michael Sheen. Oh, he was in all of them, though, wasn't he?
I believe so. And I actually, if I am correct about who you're talking about, he was in one of the Twilight movies too.
In what movies? The Twilight. I think you're right. I think he was in the Twilight movies. Yeah.
He was a vampire. He was like a really similar character, actually. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably just an $8 million like slam dunk. You know what I mean? Just like, yeah, all right. Boom! I wanted to buy a house in America. I just did that.
That's great.
Yeah, I would be in those movies. Are you kidding me? What am I gonna have like artistic integrity? Fuck that. How much money are you getting paid for those movies? Yeah, I'm in. Especially apparently sequel money is crazy money.
Because there's so much hype around it.
I don't know. I guess your agents can ask for more money. I have no idea how it works, but apparently you're supposed to make some mad cheddar for sequels.
Maybe it's because it's like you can't really replace me. So
that's typically true unless you're Terrence Howard in Iron Man and they replace that motherfucker like that.
Oh, true. That was, I feel like, pretty obvious. So maybe that's just me.
What do you mean obvious?
Like the next movie, you're like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, and they just used Don Cheadle. That was a huge mistake on his part.
It's so weird.
Yeah, but I mean, for the amount of movies they made, like the amount of money he missed out on, oof.
Yeah.
Whoopsie. Oopsie-doopsie.
Yeah.
Guess I'll never make that mistake again.
All right, let's move on to your movie.
V for Vendetta.
When was the last time you watched it?
One of my favorites. I didn't watch it this time, actually, but I watched it quite a bit.
Do you know it's based on a graphic novel?
I do. I've never read that graphic novel, though.
Apparently, it's quite different from the books. I mean, the movies.
Yeah, fair. I would expect it to be.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm curious. Now I want to read it. Where can I find it?
You can if you get Comixology on Amazon, which is this like kind of streaming comic book thing.
Actually, I've heard of that.
Yeah. It's like $5 a month or something.
Oh.
And it's on there. It's like one of your options. You can just read. I was like $5, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I was gonna try to read some of it before tonight, but I didn't have the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I got Moon actually because it was like it was 99 cents a month for a year to get the Showtime subscription. So I was like, yeah.
That's nothing. 99 cents a month for a year?
Yeah, no, but it's because I still somehow am counted as a student from when I literally took like 2 semesters of classes for ASU online.
Oh, well, great.
Yeah, and I still have a student prime, which is like a lot cheaper. Please don't turn it off. But
cool.
Yeah,
keep it going. That's awesome. Wow. Yeah. I have a few of those. I started Cinemax the other night. I think to watch. No, I don't remember why. Oh, to watch The Crow. The Crow. Me and Jared are going to do a stream about that because he's never seen it. And I was like, oh yeah, it's time you saw The Crow, bro. I fucking love that one. Oof, so good. But we're talking about V for Vendetta. So yeah, that was great. I hadn't seen it in so long. Yeah, it was really awesome. The criticism I will say is that I did not like Natalie Portman's English accent. That didn't work for me.
Yeah.
I was not crazy about it. I felt like a little overwrought. She was just trying to be so English. I was like, that's not flying for me. Not like a big deal. But I guess, I don't know, she annoys me because she's like one of those like really preachy types in Hollywood. So I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't like you now. So when you do things that like normally I'd forgive, I'm like, yeah.
She was so great in The Professional, though.
That's a movie I don't like.
Really?
Yeah. Like I don't know why it's so booked. I was watching it like this is music. Maybe I could give it another chance, but I'm like, no one in this movie is behaving like a real person. Like, Yeah. Okay.
What are you talking about? You can't. Nope. Can't base it off of that.
I can base anything I want. This is my channel. No, I'm just kidding. No, but it's like okay, so the girl, like her whole family gets killed except for her son or brother or whatever, or even her brother, right? Don't they all get murdered? Anyway, look, and there was a shitty abusive family. I understand that. But like it would still be horrifically traumatizing for that child. She wouldn't be like, oh well, I mean, I don't like them anyway. Like those are the only family she knows. She's 12.
Actually, like counter argument to that is one of the like old school shooters. I've used that song anyway. She was this girl that was like getting abused by her dad, and that was the only person she like knew and like lived with. Basically, he like didn't let her go to school. He kept her home. She was like alcoholic. He was alcoholic. There was lots of like drug abuse, and they had guns in the house. And he bought her a gun for her birthday. And then one day she woke up and like shot a bunch of people at a school, which I can't even remember the school name. That's terrible.
That's
okay. But yeah, it's like a real story. She got convicted. She got out of prison recently. I think maybe that's why I read about it. Possibly. But anyway, and she was just like, yeah, I just like felt like shooting some people today, and I picked like people with fluffy jackets because I knew that like would fly out.
Yeah, but see, that's someone who's abused into being like psychotically deranged. Like, right. I believe that, but that wasn't her. And I don't even mean what she ends up doing. I mean, like her immediate reaction to her family being murdered in front of her was really mellow. I'm like, I get it. It wasn't a great situation for her, but she has like a reflection on it that's like complex. Like it's been 3 or 4 months and now she can see that it's a better situation for her. But in the moment, she would be fucking horrified.
Could have to be a shock.
Yeah, it could be, but it wasn't portrayed as shock. I just remember feeling like a lot of the things I was just like, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. I was like, there was like enough things in this movie where I was like, I don't think this is for me. Maybe I'll go back and give it a shot and see if it is. I don't remember. I remember being like, no. I don't know, but it's considered a classic, so maybe it deserves another watch through. One thing I thought was really interesting in V for Vendetta, which is like, I was like, that's fucking clever. So the guy on the big screen, who's like the prime minister,
the chancellor.
Yeah, the chancellor. He's an actor named John Hurt. He was an alien. He's the guy who has the alien burst out of his chest.
Oh.
First time when they're all just sitting around eating and it just like happened. Yeah. Which was so cool when we watched that because you had never seen it and you didn't even know about it. And then like, which I was like, there's people who don't know about this. Like that was just one of those things that I knew about years before I saw the movie. And then to see you have like a real reaction, like you really jumped and jolted, like because you didn't know it was coming. I was like, oh wow, that was so cool, like to really see.
Even though it looks pretty fake, it still gets you. You're like,
yeah. And I guess the actress in that scene, her reaction was totally genuine because they didn't tell her what was going to happen. She was just like, oh god, like that was like a real reaction.
Yeah.
But no, so that actor John Hurt, he was in a movie 1984, which I'm sure you know the book, right?
Yes.
And in that movie, they're showing big faces of like, you know, like the dictator guy, like talking to everybody, but he's like the rebelling against like the government system. So in this movie, he is the guy on the screen who's the government system. I was like, that is so fucking cool. And as Eric points out, he has a cameo in Spaceballs where the same thing happens and the alien bursts out of his chest. He goes, not again, and then dies. And then the thing goes, hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime gal. It was the 80s. But yeah, no. So I thought that was really clever. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I like that they did that. Like, that was like a fun little nod, little film homage.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things I learned about the character of Evie is that in the books, in the graphic novel, she's a teenage hooker, like a prostitute.
Oh.
Yeah. And like, cause she's just like a product of like this shitty country that they live in. And I forgot, I don't remember exactly how it goes, but like the same kind of similar situation where she's going to get beaten and raped by the two finger guys, you know, the two, and then V saves her anyway. And apparently that whole V word monologue, that was written by the Wachowskis. That wasn't, that's not in the book.
Well, it's still like amazing.
I think it works.
Yeah.
I think it works a lot. I really like that movie. I really do. I'm glad I didn't have any prejudice like with the comic book because I love that. I mean, I love that movie. I think it's really fun.
Yeah. Sometimes I just like learned to, because I've always loved books, and then I get so disappointed by the movies. But sometimes I like the movies even when they're not true to the book. And so I kind of learned to like separate them as like two different stories or two different versions of a story. Because I'll be like, I like that one and I like that one. You know what I mean?
Well, you see a lot of filmmakers who are just they're really good like translators, right?
Yeah.
Like you have source material and they have like a film brain, so they know how to like take it and make it a film. But a lot of times those same people, when they start to make their own decisions, you're like, stop, don't do that, please stop. Like most notoriously with Game of Thrones, right? Where you've got those two guys who are adapting this book so well, making some controversial decisions, but for the most part, we're all like, this is brilliant. And then, you know, when they're up to them, you're like, this is utter garbage. You guys are terrible at this. What the fuck did you do with this franchise? How could you be so good at this adaptation and so bad at writing your own ideas? You know? And so I think that's what people like. I know what happens with me when I'm a fan of a book and then they make some like editorial decision on characters or motivations. Like they did that with Altered Carbon, like really bad, where you're just like, what? You've corrupted the entire soul of this thing just by making like a choice like that. Like now it's not the book and now it's not the story anymore.
Yeah. I never did see that or read the comics on that one or the book.
For what, Altered Carbon?
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah. I didn't even read that one, but I also said I was going to read Dune.
Dune. Yeah. Have you been?
No, well, I need to find the library to get it. Or buy it. I totally forgot to check how much it was.
Do you have a Kindle? Do you do like the electronic reading?
Weird. My family never gifted me a Kindle.
That's weird. You're such a bookworm.
My mom got herself a Kindle, and my dad never used his, but they didn't give it to me.
Well, then borrow you still live with your dad, so use your dad's.
I don't think it works. It was like years ago. It was like one, yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, the Paperwhite is actually a pretty cool device. I happen to like it a lot. Like, it doesn't have the like looking at a screen thing for your eyes, you know, so you can read a book. It saves your place without a bookmark, obviously. But like, if there's a word you don't understand, you can just press and hold it, and it'll define it for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right.
That's it. I've only used one a couple of times.
And the cool thing too that I found is that it carries like all your books. So if you're not in the mood to read like whatever book you're in the mood, like, you know, because like sometimes I'll read like nonfiction, you know, like not even just like history, just stuff for like film or entertainment industry or like motivation on how to not be a loser, shit like that, you know. But like I don't always want to read that. Sometimes I want to read a novel or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's nice to be able to change and have everything right there in this little like, you know, iPad shaped thing. I think they're underrated.
Sponsoring you now?
What's that?
Is Kindle like sponsoring you now?
No, I'm just pitching like all these different brands to show them how good I am at pitching. So when they come to me, they'll be like, this guy's going to sell us a lot of Kindles.
You get $1 million for an Instagram post one day.
Yeah. I'm down. I was one of my first Expanse things. I was pitching the Iron Flask. Oh, you can't see it because it's green. But I fucking love this thing. And I'm so happy I bought it because the Hydro Flask was like $50. And I bought this for half the price, and it came with multiple tops, and it's great, and it's bigger. Fuck Hydro Flask. Go Iron Flask.
It's so funny. This reminds me of the Simmons car. I don't know. It's like a big commercial. It's just like
Maybe if I just sold out super hard and I just started selling like just the worst movies, I'm just like Mulan was genius, transcendent. Just
Go
like,
watch it.
yeah, just like pocketing big checks. Yeah, just sell out really hard.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Oh, books, Kindles, right? Yeah. Oh, for Dune. I'm listening to the audiobook on Audible, which is pretty good.
And on Audible, you can download books to save them so that you can listen to them offline. It's really super convenient.
Yeah. I don't know. Why are you ever offline right now?
I'm always offline. I hate it. Spotify is always offline.
Don't you have like, you don't have like mobile data?
I do, but it just is better because for some reason my service is so spotty. Like even in
I'm so used to living in cities.
In the bathroom, I don't get service, and then I have to go all the way to the front of the store to get any service. So
I just lived in cities my entire adult life. I don't know what that's like. Like, I mean, I understand it because it happens.
Town?
Napa? Yeah, Napa's not a city. It's a large town.
I love how my parents went from Napa to Nampa.
Ew, that's weird.
That's our new town name.
Nampa.
Yeah, of all of the fucking, like, Treasure Valley has so many different, there's Star, that's a way better name, Eagle, Meridian, like all of those already. And
those sound like a new age couple's kids. This is Star, Eagle, and our daughter Meridian.
Yes, oh my god. I bet there are people named all of those names.
Guaranteed.
Hopefully not Nampa though, because that's a terrible name.
Not good. It's not good. It almost sounds like Wampa.
Threatening to get chickens.
What?
My dad is threatening to get chickens.
You should get some chickens. Why wouldn't you?
Because I'm gonna have to take care of them. Because they're gonna be like.
And they won't even let you take your cat, but they're gonna get a bunch of chickens.
Yeah, fucking. Oh no! I told you the cat story because then my dad, after they made me get rid of my cat, he goes to my mom and he goes, I think it would be nice to maybe get a Maine Coon when we go up there. Another fucking cat, and I was like, you just got rid of your 2 10-year-old cats and made me get rid of my 4-year-old cat. You're not getting another fucking cat.
Good for you.
I was like, Mom, if you guys get another cat, it's going to be my cat, and you're going to keep her for me. I was like, that's the only cat you're going to get. And
yeah.
No, I told him no cats in your house.
That's so rude. Oh, that's gross. Anyway,
he's just so absent-minded. He's like on one thing. Like that's what it's like chickens. Like he's.
Chickens are great though because you have eggs.
I should really not talk so loud because I don't know if they're like out there. Yeah, the eggs. They eat so many eggs, and they always get them from like Walmart. Disgusting.
No, I've started finding there's actually some great brands at Ralph's that have like those really brilliant orange yolks.
Oh, Ralph! I forgot that existed.
Awesome. Like Happy Eggs, which is this brand, or then there's another one.
Yeah, that one.
They're so good, but then there's another one that I can't remember the name of, but they'll have like the blue eggs, like the Aracuna eggs. Oh, best eggs. Oh, they're so good. Best you'll ever have.
Delicious. This is sponsored by Happy Eggs.
Yeah.
No, so Dune, you know what's fucked up about Dune? So I had this grand plan, right? I was going to listen to the Audible of it because I like listening to audiobooks while I work out. I think it's a good way to, like readish, you know what I mean? But I'm going to be focused on that. So then, I don't know, it helps me work out. And my grand plan was I'm going to listen to audiobook and then I'll pick up like, read in between chapters or whatever, and then pick up where I left off on the audiobook, like kind of do both.
That's difficult though.
Yeah. You know why it's really fucking difficult? Because Dune isn't separated into chapters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's
right now actually with Game of Thrones. They're all just names.
Dude,
of
it's
people.
3 books. It's book 1, 2, 3. They're all like 200 pages long. And then like there's little subsections that say, commentaries by the Princess Irulan from the house, blah, 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 or whatever. But like those aren't marked in the book anywhere. They just show up in the middle of a page. And like, there's no way to flip and find it. I'm like, oh, I had this great plan to like read and listen at the same time, and I can't. So I'm listening to it. It's a good voice acted cast though.
Yeah.
Like it's really good. Like the actors who like do the voice acting. It's a cast. It's not just one person. It's like
weird.
It's good. It's really good.
Yeah, I used to listen to stuff like that all the time when I was a kid, but I haven't like actually come across a book that had good like acting out like that in a while. It's
hard, man. I mean, if you gotta do 600 pages or whatever it is, and it's like when good acting is good work. It's like the good preparation. You learn your character, your lines. It's so ingrained inside of you that it comes out naturally. That's impossible to do in a book. I mean, you can't. Like, I don't know how many times could you possibly read it? Like once, twice. If you read it twice, you're like incredibly prepared. So it's like you have to, you know what I mean? Like for a book for that long, so you have to, you gotta take the good with the bad on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't ask much of actors in that position. No one's that good. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. Some really great readers, just like they just read through the book. You know what I mean? And some of them are pretty great.
There was some star. Oh, Benedict Cumberbatch, I guess, can't pronounce penguin.
What?
Like Benedict Cumberbatch, I guess he was doing narration on some like nature show, and he can't pronounce penguin. Like he's like penguin. Like he changed his pronunciation every time, I think.
What? I want to see it now.
It came out of like on some talk show, and he was humiliated. And he's like, the guys in the booth never corrected me. I don't know why I couldn't pronounce this word, but I kept getting stuck in my mouth, and I just couldn't. And everyone was like, "Wait, what? Did he just say penguin? What the fuck was that?"
It is hilarious.
Yeah.
His name is Benedict Cumberbatch.
And he's English and he's an actor, so you assume naturally he's incredibly articulate, and then to hear that he's not is kind of funny.
English are supposed to be.
He's very charming. Did you ever watch Sherlock? Did we ever talk about that?
Of course, yeah. He actually reads Sherlock in Audible.
Does he really?
Yeah, I have it actually.
This is a commercial for Audible.
This is a commercial. Just like a long commercial for a bunch of different things.
Yeah, it's you know what, we mentioned Comixology. It's really just a commercial for Amazon.
Oh no.
Yeah, I love it.
No, stop.
Best. Hey, I'm talking about my sponsor.
I'm not even talking about it. They don't need it. They don't need help. They've taken over the world.
If they want to pay me to pitch Amazon, I will.
They won't, and they don't need it.
No, they don't. I love Amazon though. They're the best. Oh, so great. I got a vacuum cleaner coming to my house from Amazon. I mean, come on.
Better be a good vacuum cleaner. When did you clean your car last? That's what I want to know.
What is it in the background? Like, why would you say it like that? Like, it's like, you pig, you disgusting animal. Like, you haven't been in my car in like 5 years. What are you talking?
It was always gross. That's why I'm saying that.
I'm gonna blow up my spot here on the internet.
About it too. I always.
Your car was always a shithole too. Your car looked like an extension of your bedroom.
Oh, true.
there was like you literally couldn't put your feet down in the back seat. There were so many clothes and shit. Like, you're gonna sit here and talk shit to me?
For a long time, I was actually living out of my car when you knew me, so that's not fair. And then, second of all, I'm just making a joke of, it's not even your car necessarily. It's the fact that you're like 6'1", and then you have that car.
6'1" and a little bit. 6'1" and a half.
Oh, 7. So anyway, that's what's always comical to me. It's just a large person getting out of the tiniest car. Large in a good way, by the way, not fat. You're not fat yet.
This is the only car I can afford right now.
At the time.
No, did you ever see that? That's a. Oh, this is so funny. This is exactly my car. All right, people, you can all get in on the joke.
Oh, we don't know what your car looks like.
This is I fucking love this thing. Here's another product I can pitch. I've had this thing since 2011. It's still kicking ass.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
No, it can't be 2011. No. 2014.
Oh, okay.
But still, 6 years.
I like it.
No, still kicking ass. No, but that was a scene in a Simpsons episode where there was this guy like driving the car and he's all like this and his like knees are up to his eyes and Nelson goes, ha ha. And the guy gets out. And he's like this really tall guy and he goes, "This is the only car I can afford right now. Do you think that is funny? Oh, you're the boy who laughs at everything." And then they make me like, let's all point and laugh at you now. And I kind of feel like that guy sometimes.
Oh, it's so good. Did you park anywhere?
What's that? Yeah, people. Yeah, you can. And the gas mileage is amazing. I mean, to fill the tank, it costs like $27 or something. I would say I can do 300 plus miles on that tank.
Are they taking smart cars?
Yeah.
Wow.
I always like to say I drive a Mercedes. Yeah, drive a Mercedes.
Yeah.
It's made by Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
It is.
Yep. You drive a Mercedes.
Goddamn right I do. I'm fancy, huh? But Dune. See, I was thinking about that. The Dune, because we were talking about that, like reading it or whatever. And it'd be fun if we could both watch the movie and then like come stream about it. I think that would be
Yes.
No, it comes out in December. So we have time. Although I don't know where the hell I'm gonna see it. I guess there's drive-in theaters here in LA. I don't know.
Oh, are they not doing theaters right now?
No, they're not doing anything.
I thought they were doing like social distance theaters.
Not in LA.
Come on, America. I had a bad experience with that the other day.
Go on.
I mean, it's just dumb. I forgot my mask.
Okay, I'm listening. Keep going.
Okay. Anyway, I went into this gas station for two reasons. I wanted to pay with cash, and I wanted to try and get a fucking mask. And I put my like shirt. You can't see right now, but I'm putting my shirt over my nose and mouth. And I thought that would be acceptable for the time it took to give my money to the man and ask him if he had a mask. Apparently, it was not enough to get me through the door. He like yelled at me as soon as I opened the door. I was like this. And he was like...
See, that's that kind of paranoia. Sorry, go on.
Like, he like yelled at me like 4 times. And I tried to be like... Because I literally was this the whole time. And I was trying to be like, I just wanted to get a mask. Like, can I get a mask? Like, I was trying to say it. And he just like yelled like 4 times. Like, you need to be wearing a mask or leave.
So he wouldn't sell you a mask?
No, and I was like, I thought I was doing my due diligence, like covering my nose and mouth. Not perfectly, but like, come on, like, help me out here.
Well enough to get inside the door and buy a friggin' mask.
That's what I thought. Because I was like, honestly, people, because I work at a grocery store, and people that come into my store do that sometimes. They're like, oh, I got my mask. And they're really like walking, and obviously they're letting it down sometimes, but like,
you're not supposed to do it, but I mean, like, if the whole point of a mask is that it covers your nose and mouth, well, this fucking works, at least for a little while.
I had a girl that I worked with.
Long enough to buy a mask.
Yeah, but I had a girl that I worked with, she was wearing a crocheted mask. Like,
that's so stupid.
So like, can I not? Like, people do it that, but I can't. Anyway.
A crocheted mask? That's really dumb.
Yeah, no. You have to see some of the masks out there. They're hilarious.
That is really fucking stupid. I like that. Yeah, a crocheted mask.
Yeah.
I kind of like, I have 2 masks that I actually kind of dig. This one I got at 7-Eleven because it was like
a ninja.
It's not vanity, it's just comfort.
Oh, truth. Oh, yeah, that one's nice.
And it's just kind of like, it's actually really easy to wear and really comfortable.
Yeah.
Like I don't mind this one at all. And then the other one I got from a job I did. Because not to name drop, but I bartended Russell Peters' house the other night. I shouldn't say that on the internet. Yeah, Russell Peters, the comedian. And then this is the other one.
What's it say? It's backwards.
LA Speakeasy.
Never mind, it's not backwards.
I didn't think so.
It's backwards, and then I was like, wait, it's not.
It's one of the companies I work for. One of the bartending companies I work for.
That's for so many different people. Said you work for so many different people.
Yeah, I mean, normally, under normal circumstances, I never really get to work. I mean, now you have to be like mask on, social distance, hand sanitizer, it's a whole thing.
At least you don't have to get tested. That would suck.
Yeah, that would fucking suck. Fuck that.
We have to temp us every morning, but I never do it because I have to go find a fucking manager, and I'm like, I'm not gonna like go hunt someone down. And they always say before you clock on too, and I'm like, bitch, I'm not gonna like hunt you down to get my temperature taken before I've even clocked on. Like, no, you gotta pay me for that, and then I don't. So, but this morning, like the new manager that got switched out was like, hey, did you get your temperature taken today? And I was like, oh, I think I forgot.
Why don't you just lie?
Don't forget, because if he starts asking the managers who were there at the time, did Lindsay come to you and get her temperature taken? They'd be like, no. So, but if he asked about like, oh, last week, it's like they're not all going to remember who was even there to check my temperature.
I mean, I guess that's a good thing. Like, I was annoyed like when they reclosed the gyms because I was like, this is like the safest I've ever been. Like, first of all, you can't enter without a mask, so you had the mask on, and then they take your temperature with like one of those like, you know, little laser dot thermometers thing, and then they give and then you have to wear a mask the whole time, and they give everyone a spray bottle and a rag that you have to wipe down and wash everything. I'm like, this is as sanitary as can be. No disease is being spread here.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the gym in months. What's that?
Yeah.
This is our weekly feature, as we call Lindsay's parents interrupting the show.
Yes.
Let's watch in and see what happens.
Yes. Hello. That's my sister.
It's your sister, Lindsay's family.
Oh, good. She walks and then waits.
Yes. Yeah, she respects your. She respects the fact that you're an adult. Eric, our big fan here. Eric, it'd be an interesting to do a compare and contrast between the upcoming Dune and the David Lynch one from the 80s. Yeah, I heard that the David Lynch one from the 80s is like almost nothing like the book. I don't know. Like, that's what I heard.
Oh, interesting. Now I gotta read the book.
Yeah, you gotta read the book. See where you can find it. Like, that's why the whole Kindle situation came up, because it was like,
right.
I'm sure it's got to be available. I bought my copy at
cheap anyway.
Yeah, I would think so. I bought my copy for like $5 at a used bookstore years ago, and it's been kicking around my bookshelf for years, and I've been meaning to read it, and I don't really read, so.
I don't read. Oh yeah, here it is. Super cheap. $10.
$10. Okay. There you go.
More than yours, but that works for me. I've spent more on books.
I mean, I guess that's $10. I mean, if you think about how many hours of entertainment a book is, you know what I mean? It could be months.
They're expensive. I spent I think it was like $80 on the Game of Thrones, all 5 of the the original 5 basically. And they're all like collector and nice and.
Oh well, yeah, but those are collector's editions. That's why.
Yeah, the books are so fucking expensive. Ask any student who had to buy a textbook.
Yeah, I know, but like a paperback isn't expensive. I was in college.
It can be. If you're thinking about how many, one time I bought this whole series that I ended up giving away pretty much. And it was literally just because I didn't really have a library and I just wanted to read some books. And they were each about $13 for a paperback, and I bought 5 of them. So that's kind of pretty fucking close.
Yeah, they need some kind of some sort of Netflix for libraries where you just pay a monthly fee, and then, or even better yet, if they were free. If it was just free and you could go there and get the book and then read it, that would be cool. Oh wait, they're called libraries. I forgot about that.
Libraries don't send them to your house though.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's true. I could walk across the street.
The idea of Netflix is that you get a new, but I think they have that though. Like you
Netflix
get
of books.
I'm sure they do. Yeah, book of the month.
Book of the month club.
Yeah. There's a few other ones. Yeah, no, it exists. Everything exists now.
I'm sure it does. Yeah, there's so many. That's the whole model for so many different businesses is monthly. You know, have you ever done any of those trunk? What do they call those like trunk, the clothing trunk things where you like you give them kind of like your style and then you pay like a certain amount. Have you done that?
It's a terrible idea. Don't ever do that.
Really?
Yeah, first off, well, for me at least, I guess I picked the wrong company because all the clothes looked like a mother would wear them.
Hot.
Like in a chic way, but not in like a cute way. And I was like 25, and I'm like, I'm gonna wear this. My mom was like, "That was great." I'm like, I knew that. And then you have to send it back if you don't want to get charged.
Right.
So you have to go through the whole process of sending it back. And I think the way they make their money, people don't want to go through sending it back, and so they get charged the full amount.
That's so funny. Like when I first got Netflix, I was in college, and it was like when it was just discs, and I was in heaven.
Like, I loved that when I was a kid.
Yeah, I loved it. Like it was, and I was, movie nerd. I'm in acting school. It's like the coolest thing ever. So, I go through, and it was like you get 3 discs. I get 3 at a time, and you go through them, and then I would just go down into the lobby of the building I was like living in, and then you just put it in the mailbox, and like right where you get your mail. So it was really easy. It was really convenient. But once there's that extra step of having to like find a mailbox or like drop it off at the post office, it's like, it's such a pain in the ass. Yeah. And that becomes like this whole extra thing. Yeah. Like I end up shipping stuff back to my mom all the time and having to go to the post office. And like, if I have to like wait online, or if the automatic,
what?
Sorry, I thought I just sneezed. No. Excuse me. Sorry, that hit me kind of hard. No, but if I have to like wait online, or like the automatic postage thing is not working, it's just the worst. It's the worst. Like everyone there is rude. And if they're not rude, they're just not pleasant. You know what I mean? And it takes forever. And they're the most sterile buildings. Like, it's like I couldn't imagine living like in a communist country where everything's built by the government. Like everything must be hideous because every post office is just so just bleak and bland. They
just look like DMV, but they're post office.
Yeah, miserable places. Not a fan of the post office, not at all.
No, but that's how the subscriptions make their money, though, is making it difficult. And one thing that I always get caught on is forgetting that I signed up for some free shit, and then they're going to charge you.
That's exactly why they do that.
But I normally like rely on them to send me that little email, like, your subscription is about to renew. And then I cancel it, but some of them don't. And I just got caught with Arrive fucking Market. I like started the subscription, and you can't even look at any of their products without starting the subscription. So really all I wanted to do was go on their like online site, see how much their products were, and see what kind of stuff they had. And they were like, nope, you got to sign up. So I did, because I was like, oh, whatever, it's free, I'll cancel it. And then they never sent me the fucking email and charged me $60 because it's $60 for the year.
Oh, is that like just to be a member? That's before you even get anything?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you got to figure out a way to get that money back. That's bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
So it's like boxed food. That's the whole thing. Like it's like a food box.
Yeah, like you buy food. It's not. No, it's not a food box. I got hit with one of those. So
it looks like a food box.
That was Blue Apron.
Oh yeah.
And they're a food box. But no.
Did you like that? Did you like Blue Apron?
The whole like thing about getting the recipe and having the ingredients like already there, perfectly portioned out for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously really convenient, and then also it's really fun. It's like
Fine.
I don't have to do that much work, and it's like all laid out for me, and then I'm like, oh, let's follow the recipe, yay, and get really drunk.
Was meal prep really big around you? Like, did the people around you go through like a meal prep phase? Because I remember like 4 years ago, everyone around me went through like a huge meal prep phase.
It's still like a thing, you know, like people still make, like I have thought about that, but I'm not a good cook, so I couldn't do it. But you could do it because you're a good cook, depending on what they want, I guess. But yeah, people make money off of that. Like they like prepare meals for other people and they portion them out in their little Tupperware and then they sell it.
I would never.
A weekly thing. I
mean, I work at the bakery, 3 days a week. I don't need another food prep job.
No, you don't. I was just saying that of the two of us, you could do it, but I could not.
I see. I understand.
That's what I was saying.
Even
though I'm interested in nutrition, and I was like, oh, as a nutritionist, I could.
And microgreens.
And microgreens. I was like, I could offer like cooked meals, but then I'm like, I don't cook, so I'm terrible at it.
I think Eric is still watching, so I'm going to ask Eric if he thinks that Lindsey should start her YouTube channel with microgreens and kittens.
Nope.
I didn't ask you, Lindsey. I asked Eric. I asked what his opinion was. So we'll wait and see what he thinks about that. But I'm
not listening, and he's off eating dinner.
You need to. I think if you had like a ring light, right? You have like a decent camera. Like it looks fine.
Okay, I'm in my sister's spare room, one of her spare rooms, with her old ass comforter. It looks like she got it in college, but she didn't go to college.
I don't know that. Okay.
So I don't have a ring light present, and
I don't mean that right now. I mean, I'm pitching your channel, and I'm saying all you'd have to do is get a ring light. Yeah, I'm saying all you have to do is get a ring light, and then you can, whatever basic video editing software you have, and then you can talk about kittens and microgreens, and I think you're going to corner the market.
What am I going to talk about those things, though?
That's a good question. That is a good question. I don't know, but I'm fairly certain people are interested in kittens and microgreens. Who doesn't like that?
Here right now.
You have what?
There's puppies here right now.
Puppies?
Not in my room.
Puppies.
Little pit bull puppies. They're pretty fucking cute.
Oh. Eric says, sure, if she wants to. What would she like to start it with? No, the point is to force her, Eric. The point is to not give her a choice, to force her into making her channel.
You cannot. This is not that restaurant where you said, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to tell everyone to like make you eat these oysters.
Oh, shut up. Don't remind me. That's not fair.
And then I threw up all night. I still don't know why.
That did happen. Yeah, I felt really bad.
Yeah, you were serious too.
I was serious. I was probably a little drunk.
Yeah, always. Not always anymore, but pretty much always we were like hanging out because we were like not at work or like.
Yeah, I can't believe that happened. I cannot believe you got so sick off one oyster. I couldn't believe that.
Yes, all night.
That was so weird. It was like, why?
It was so. I distinctly remember it, and then also I said something about like I wasn't sure if it was the mozzarella to someone. And they were like, you're eating like a cheese pizza right now, that's mozzarella. And I was like, you fucker, like, it's that fresh ass mozzarella. Like, I was like, maybe it was different. I wasn't talking about regular calling me out.
I don't remember that at all.
It was on the pizza. Remember the pizza?
This was like 8-9 years ago. This was kind of a while ago, Lindsey.
Yeah, remember the restaurant we went to?
Yes, it's Larry's in Venice. I remember all that.
In Venice. The pizza place with oysters.
Just saying, it was kind of a long time ago. Have you been watching anything else? Like, have you checked out anything else or turned on anything?
No.
You haven't watched anything.
I have been busy.
I have been busy.
I've been moving. They kicked
Oh,
me
that's
out.
right. You're moving.
We need to have all your stuff out today. And I was like, okay, sounds
Yeah,
good.
moving to Idaho.
All my stuff is in my car. Well, not all of it. You know, obviously a dresser didn't fit in my car, but.
Are you still working? Do you still have your job?
Yeah, we're still here. We don't get to go to the other house until the 25th.
Of October.
Yeah, so we're going to be staying at my sister's house.
Oh, so you live there now?
I do currently live here.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool of your sister to put everyone up.
She does have like endless amounts of alcoholic beverages and snacks.
Well, hey, that's not so bad. Snacks and alcohol. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's pretty. She's very generous. She's a very generous lady.
Yeah, I have not been watching anything new either. I watched that show Raised by Wolves, which I might watch another episode tonight just to kind of refresh. But I've been trying to stream it, so I don't know. Maybe I'll save it for tomorrow, and then go watch and then go talk about it. Go yak about it to the people. I watched a really interesting movie called Under the Silver Lake with Andrew Garfield. That was intense.
Under the Silver Lake. What was it about?
Oh, that's tough.
Under the Silver Lake.
Yeah, it's just all about
fantasy, just from the name.
What's that?
It sounds like a fantasy, just from the title.
Silver Lake is a neighborhood in Los Angeles, so it's
that makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like it's actually is a lake, but it's like a detective noir story, kind of about this sort of deadbeat kid who's like following this girl, trying to figure out where this girl disappeared to that he's like infatuated with, and then like where the story goes, like where she ends up. It's like this long like detective like circle around LA. It's interesting. I don't know if it's amazing, but it's interesting to discuss. Me and Jared talked about it last week. We had like a long discussion on it. Are you subscribed to the channel yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Twice, actually, I think.
Twice? Oh.
With both my Google accounts.
Oh, yeah. That's what's up.
Because I was like on it, the YouTube channel, and I was like, what? I thought I subscribed, so I clicked it again. And then I realized it's like my other account. What?
Guess it, yeah. Try to get those numbers up.
Oh, yeah.
Go through the roof with this. Yeah. We didn't really talk about V for Vendetta. Is there anything that like?
Oh, I don't know, that whole thing. It's such a it's so interesting to me, especially because she's like I guess the driving character, but V is so perfectly like the villain and the hero, not hero necessarily, but the victim, like almost at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like his motivations are pretty clean, and it's interesting. Like that the way that depiction. Like I always appreciate those stories about like anti-fascism and like kind of fighting the power. Although I always get annoyed when they set them in countries where it's like, oh, we got to make sure this never happens. It's like, meanwhile, that does happen in countries around the world, like now.
Yeah.
Like if you speak out about certain governments, you will disappear.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a testament to how strong our governments are that you could actually make a movie where you blow up their main government building and
like
no one in your family. What's up?
The Interview, wasn't it called?
No, I mean, in this movie, in V for Vendetta, they blow up Parliament at the end.
Oh, well, yeah.
And we can blow up the White House, but it's like in some countries, if you even talk shit about the government, that's it for you, chief. So it's kind of like, I always find it like a little annoying when people from the West are kind of like, oh, fascism. It's like, yeah, but there's countries with real fascism now who really do like kill homosexuals and do like get rid of other religions and will black bag people for like, it's a little annoying when it's like,
I see stuff like all the time where it's like they slept with each other outside of marriage, so they got caned.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like it's stuff like that.
No, but I brought up The Interview, the movie,
Yeah. I remember The Interview.
Yeah. Like that one got really.
Yeah.
That was a big. I never watched it.
That created
Korea was like freaking out about it.
international incident. I guess Seth Rogen was pretty shaken up by doing that.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good movie either.
I didn't want. Yeah, I don't know.
It wasn't that funny. I mean, it gave us the meme, 2 memes. It was like, they hate us because they ain't us. It's like, they hate us because they ain't us. No, they hate us because they ain't us. You know, like James Franco. And he goes, same, but different, but still the same. Like, he was like this idiot, like, talk show host, which was like pretty funny. And then they had like Eminem, like play it like a version of himself where he came out of the closet and he's like, I'm gay. He's like all gangster about being gay. It was pretty funny. But no, the movie wasn't very good. No, but I just like, it's just a little annoying. Like when the West, like when movies from the West, they always they do that. It's kind of like, yeah, it's just like, there's real fascism in the world right now. Like there are real governments that will black bag your ass for disagreeing, for protest. Like it's annoying that you're like, yeah, we're fighting the power. It's like, not really. I mean, our country, we can say it. We're free enough to actually say it and nothing happens. Like there are countries where you can't be gay and you're like, we're so powerful. It's like, no, you're fucking not. I don't know. Like I find that always a little irritating, especially when it comes from like the Hollywood left, you know, because it's just like so predictable. But I kind of was noticing that like it came out in a different time though. I mean, that came out in 2005. Like the Iraq War was only like 2 years old. You know, like it was the Bush administration. It was a different time, very different time. But it's just when you see that over and over, you're like, yeah, except that this does happen in countries today. Like to have it as like a warning, it's like, yeah, but it's happening right now. So I don't know. That was just something I was just like, I was a little eye rolly. That was kind of me with Chinese. Whatever. Because like they've changed like the meme now about trans or something. It's like, no, it isn't. But like now, because they're both trans, it is.
What? Sorry, I missed part of that. I think you.
The Wachowskis who did the.
Oh, right.
And they also wrote V for Vendetta and produced it.
That's great.
So it's like when you kind of see their worldview, I'm a little like, yeah, not that interested. Not that, and like even I was watching a Natalie Portman thing with V for Vendetta, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm like, you know, it's how like governments are embracing like conservative, you know, it's like, oh, what countries are embracing extreme conservatism? I'd like to hear you list them by name, Natalie Portman. I'd like to hear you say the countries that actually do stuff like this.
Yeah, you guys are appreciate her performance despite her.
Yes, she was quite good in it. I actually really liked her a lot in it. I thought she was great.
Yeah. And yeah, I think it was really like a mind fuck too when he like tortured her. Or like,
what'd you think about that? I was kind of curious, like what your thoughts are on that whole thing.
Yeah, I was saying, like, I think that for me at least was what made him the most of the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a fucked up thing to do to someone. Like
that's a fucked up thing to do.
Even if it was like, well, now you know. It's like you didn't fucking need to do that.
No.
I mean, like it had the correct effect, I guess, on her psyche, but the effect was like trauma. So it's like you're really gonna do that to someone so that they know.
Yeah.
Like that's so narcissistic. Like I need you to know me so well that I'm gonna do horrible things to you. Do you understand what I went through? But,
I mean, also like if you look at it from the most optimistic interpretation, it's also like, oh, and he's freeing her of the bounds that she was born with, right? Like he's allowed her to feel no fear, right? Which is an amazing gift, right? So you could view it through that lens. But that's right. No, I agree. I'm just saying, I'm just posing a theory. I'm posing a point of view, but it was like, I like that the whole follow-up scene was kind of justifying the fact that he just tortured her for like 6 months or something like that. Cause that was pretty horrible and pretty indefensible.
It's just like, I don't know. It's like if someone is doing that to you in like real time, like they're actually doing that to you. Like say someone is like abusing you or whatever, torturing you. you learn a lesson from it. Yes. You become stronger. Yes. You're grateful that you have become a new person who can handle something like that. You know, oh, that's what I can handle, and that's about shit. But like that doesn't make the person who did it like awesome for doing it.
Not at all.
Learn a lesson, even if that wasn't necessarily his intent. So I guess the guy's intent was better, but people do a lot of bad things with the best intentions.
And it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny too, because it's like he did it to fight a government that does that to people. It's like, wait, what? Like, I tortured you because they torture people. It's like, what? Like, what did you
understand? No one else understands what I've been through.
Yeah, it's like, you know, you could have. Yeah, I would have read your diary. I don't think you needed to like starve me for 6 months.
Obviously, has a better like emotional and psychological response because now she's part of the war. It was like in some comedy where like the guys are playing pranks on each other, and one of them like does something gross to the other guy's food, and then he brings his friend in and he's like, "Hey, have some of my sandwich." And then he goes, "Oh, look at this picture of what this guy did to it." And now the guy's like, "Oh, I'm so angry at him. Even though I should be angry at you because you just made me eat that, but I'm so angry at him." You know what I mean? Like,
no, I have no idea what that example was. What are you talking about?
I love that. So basically, how he brought her in was kind of a similar way. Like, this is the enemy, and the enemy did this to me, but now I'm going to do the same thing to you. And now he's your enemy too, even though I'm technically the one that did it to you.
Yeah, that was like really the part of that movie where I was like, that didn't sit well with me. I was like, I mean, the first time I saw it, it didn't bother me at all. But then I watched it again this time, and I was like, yeah, that's really fucked up.
Yeah, it's super fucked up. Like, he shaved her head. He literally tortured her. Like,
yeah,
real ass torture. Like, maybe not as bad as he went through.
And then if you think about it, like, it's like Stockholm syndrome, because by the end, like, she like loves him and kisses him. You know?
Yeah, that didn't come after though. She kind of like left
after the torture. I forgave him for the years for the 6 months of psychological and physical torture. I'm over it. Look, we all make mistakes.
Rain scene where she's like, "I've been cleansed."
Yeah, but that was right after her torture. It's just, it's kind of like, it's sort of, it's forgiving. I don't know that you ever forgive anyone for torturing you. Maybe you forgive them in your own mind so that you can move on. But I don't think you're like, look, every once in a while I cheat on my taxes. He tortured me for 6 months. We're all imperfect.
I guess she kind of like understands, like it happened. She understands him better and what he went through, so she has that like empathy and compassion now. But he's also the person that did it to her, so she's kind of like, let's keep our space.
But it's also super narcissistic, because it's like, it's not like you're proud that you went through that. Like, you're like, this was horrible, so I'm gonna put you through it. Like, what? No, like, you should love this person or care for this person so much that you would never want them to have to experience what you experienced. Like,
but he doesn't really love her, I guess.
It's still a fucked up thing to do.
And connect with her in some way, but it doesn't like truly like care for her well-being.
No, he does.
Well, I guess his idea of well-being is different.
No. At one point, he says like he wishes they could be together or something like that. Remember? Okay. Like, not like romantically, but like when it was all over or something. He expressed as much. I think they kind of wove that in there for like a romantic thing, just because it's like they feel like every movie has to have a romantic story.
Of course.
Yeah. I don't know why. I don't like.
And honestly, though, like, I feel like a little bit with the way they played it out, it could have been less romantic than we perceive it, but more of like a deep understanding of him and kind of like a love in a little bit less of a romantic way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. It was just, there were tones.
She didn't even actually kiss him. She just kissed the mask.
Just kissed the mask, yeah.
and she honored him, you know, and his like grief and his pain, and she honored all of that. So I think that was more of what I felt from her, less of like I just fell in love with. But you can kind of like fall in love with the person, but she doesn't really know who he is still. But she kind of fell in love with like what she knew of him.
Well, you know what? This is a little off topic, but it's something that's interesting about the movie. Hugo Weaving, I remember I've heard that he had a big problem with the with wearing the mask like for hours and hours like that.
Why?
It's probably horrible. It's probably incredibly claustrophobic.
So this makes me think of Jim Carrey in The Grinch.
Okay.
But
yeah, I guess that's all.
To have like a torture person help him out.
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember hearing like it was an issue, and the reason why I've heard about it is because I guess Pedro Pascal is going through the same thing right now on the set of The Mandalorian, or was like late last year or something like that, where he was like, while they were filming season 2, he hated being in the mask and he wanted to have the mask taken off. But like the creators were like, no, the mask never comes off. And I don't know.
Weird.
I'm trying to look it up right now to see if he had like oh, it says he doesn't mind wearing it. I don't know. Maybe I heard that wrong.
Maybe it was a different person.
Perhaps. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just it was funny. I'm glad that like this is a movie that you brought, because I hadn't seen it for years, like since like maybe a year or two after it came out. And I'm like, I don't know if I would have gone back and watched it, but I'm like happy that you like recommended it, because like, oh fuck yeah, I love this movie.
Yeah,
I forgot how much I enjoy this.
Yeah, it's a great.
Yeah. It's really good. You wanna wrap it up for the evening?
Yeah, sure. It's been a long wait. I gotta work in the morning.
Word. Well, thanks for coming on. This was really fun, as always. And thank you all for watching and checking us out. If you enjoyed the video tonight, please press that like button. You'll be an absolute legend. If you really like us, subscribe for all the new content. We got some cool stuff coming out. Me and Lindsay try to do this show weekly. Me and Jared got a weekly show. I got more content. Gonna do Con Air versus Face Off with my buddy Martin. And then you guys can vote on that. Tell me which action movie you prefer. It's Con Air, by the way. Yeah, that'll do it for us tonight. So thank you so much for joining us. Lindsay, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
She said goodnight. So thank you very much for joining us. And Eric, thanks, buddy. Thanks for sticking around. That was really cool. All right. Good evening, everybody.